If y'all are seeing me for the first time, my name is Tracy. I'm the creator and I run our YouTube channel, but I also am the author of our blogs. And if you want like a readable tutorial version of a lot of our videos of what we're all about here at 4D Farms, we're all about faith, family, home, and farm. You can catch us on our blogs at 4dfarms.blogspot.com and 4dfarms.wordpress.com. Good morning, y'all. Y'all excuse the get out of bed, let's get busy attire and hair, because that's exactly what I done this morning. Y'all see my kitchen? Green beans ready to go in the pressure canner. Got some corn cob stock ready to go in the pressure canner. Apple butter going right now. Just got done taking out the first batch of green beans out of the canner. They're sitting over there to cool. Y'all know what I'm fixing to do now? Pinto beans and ham. Yep, you heard that right. There's two different ways that I do pinto beans. And I've already got one video where I talk you through it, but I know some people like visuals. So I'm going to try to do this today. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways that you can do pinto beans, y'all. And I do them both ways. First, you can soak your beans overnight, which I did these beans, dried beans. I washed them, rinsed them, put them in there, put some water in there. But then we kind of chunked a big old ham bone in there, okay? Where dear hubby cut off some roasts off of a pork loins, a chunk of meat, okay? And the bone was still in there, so there was he left a little bit on there. He said, "Can you do some pinto beans and some pork?" I'm like, "Yes, I can." I call it ham, but it's pork, okay? It come from the hog we had processed. So he gave me that big old chunk of bone with a little bit of meat on it. So I soaked it overnight, but I slowly cooked the beans like on the lowest setting on my roaster to where the meat would get done just enough where we could like fork it off the bone, okay? And then jibble up the meat. Y'all, my mind, I'm like remembering I got an assembly line going here. I have played merry-go-round around my island this morning till ring around the roses, ring around the island till I'm about dizzy this morning. And my mind is just like trying to keep up with. I'm multitasking today in my kitchen, okay? Welcome to a multitasking day on the farm. Okay, where was I? So we could get the meat off the bone, okay? Squirrel, y'all. Then menopause, brain, you know what? Brain poops, okay? So, but I didn't cook them all the way. You soak them up. If you're not going to put any meat in it, you just soak them overnight. Let them swell up a little bit. Some people go ahead and cook them completely and then will pressure can them. Y'all, to me, they turn out too mushy when you do that. So I soak them overnight, get them good and swelled up, and then sometimes I put meat in it, sometimes I don't. This time I am. And then we're going to fill the jars. I'll show you the process. But there's another way that I do dried beans. Y'all, I'm hearing them seals. Hallelujah. I know it worked. Okay. There's another way I do pinto beans. And a lot of people are like, yeah, okay, don't send the cannon police after me because this is my kitchen. Everybody's doing it. Nobody's come up dead yet. And I know everybody's like, well, don't say that. Well, I just did. Okay. I'm going to show you another way that I do pinto beans, because if I have like a few jars left over and I need to fill in some space in my canner with some extra jars, I'm going to do some this way, and I'll show you when I get to that. Now, I know I'm in a canning group on Facebook. That's 3 so far. And people are like, why go through the trouble of canning pinto beans? All you got to do is soak them overnight, get up the next day, cook them, blah, blah, blah. Y'all, You're going to have to do that each time you want some pinto beans. That's a long process. You add up all those times that you've had to do that. You could have taken half a day, throw you some dried beans in a jar with some water, throw them in your pressure canner, and just batch pressure can you a bunch of pinto beans, to where all you got to do is when you're menu planning, oh, okay, pinto beans, let's have Mexican one night, refried beans. Go and get your little jar of pinto beans out of your pantry. It makes menu planning and cooking supper go so much faster if you've already got a jar on hand. And I know everybody's like, well, I can just go buy a jar of pinto beans at the store. Yeah, you can. You sure can. But they're not a quart. And think about how much they are now. Just for one can of a vegetable, over $1. What happened to them 69-cent days? I remember that, y'all. I'm kind of old school. Now, they may have been lower than that when I was younger. But I remember shopping, and canned vegetables were like 49 cents a can, maybe less than that. Oh, y'all, I can't remember. I'm old school, okay? That's the reason. You just take half a day, can you up some jars. They're sitting in your pantry on the whim when you want to put a quick meal together. Now, let me tell y'all the things I use pinto beans for. I use pinto beans for just about everything, to replace having to go and buy different kinds of beans for this, different kinds of beans for that. I use my pinto beans for fresh eating. Pop open a jar, throw it in a skillet, make a pan of cornbread in an iron skillet. Best meal ever. Pinto beans and cornbread. Pinto beans and ham and cornbread. Okay? Oh, let's see. Just plain pinto beans. I turn them into refried beans for Mexican. Oh, what else? Bean dip. You take your refried, you puree your beans up. You turn it into a bean dip. Let's see what else. Oh my gosh, there's so much. Okay, let's see. That was the refried bean version. Oh, Pioneer Woman's ranch beans and fiesta beans. It's just the seasoning she puts in it. Then she'll chop up like a little onion and saute it and caramelize it a little bit. Throw that in them beans. Oh my gosh. Ooh, let's see what else. I make homemade pork and beans and homemade baked beans using pinto beans. I don't buy a bean for this and a bean for that. Navy beans is what everybody uses for pork and beans and baked beans. Just go get a bigger bean. Y'all, they all taste the same. Have you noticed? A lot of your dried beans taste the same. They kind of taste like dirt. Okay, that's why you have to season them. Y'all, you quit buying 15 different beans for everything. Now, if I do want some kidney beans, like in a taco soup, or something that might call for a red bean, just for the looks, I guess, I've got some kidney beans in there that I can. Okay, for soups like taco soup, stuff like that, fajita soup, stuff like that. Only buy 2 beans. I use my pinto beans, y'all, more than I use kidney beans. But I just told y'all about how many different ways. Plain, fiesta, ranch, with some meat, turn them into refried beans, pork and beans, baked beans. There might be another in there somewhere, y'all. Count. 6 different uses I get out of one bean. Yeah, this is why I can pinto beans. So, y'all come along with me on this process, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do these, and don't freak out because it's going to be all right. Okay, this can be the tricky part. I am going to ladle the beans and the meat in my jars, the beans up to about right here. Then I'm going to go back and either take some juice that's in here, or if there's not any juice left, I may have to add some more water. I'm going to top it off with water up to here. The reason why I don't take the beans all the way to the top is because I'm giving myself a little bit more room to allow for a little bit more swelling of the bean. They're not all the way cooked, so I need to leave a little bit of space in there, like an inch space between that rim where you're going to top it off and where your bean level is. Okay? Allow for some more swelling. I'm going to fill up these jars and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Ooh, look at there, y'all. I had just enough and didn't have to add any extra water. So you see what I did here? I stopped with the beans about right here to allow for more swelling. Then I just topped off the jar to the rim with the juice that was in the pinto beans. Now we're going to debubble just to make sure we get all the air out of there. Okay, get them kind of settled. Then we are going to we're going to wipe our rims off. Then we're going to add our lids and rings. Okay, here we are. Got all that done. We're fixing to get ready to put these in the pressure canner. You're going to pressure can these. My elevation is 10 pounds of pressure for 90 minutes, 4 quarts. While those are processing, I'll answer some more questions. People ask me, okay, well, how do you do your pork and beans and baked beans? Well, when I first started doing my own pork and beans and baked beans, I would go ahead and cook them, prepare them, just like I was fixing to sit down to a meal and serve them, okay? And then I would put them in the jars and then process them. But they turned out really mushy and really sticky. Okay? Really sticky. And I'm like, no, there's got to be a better way to do this. So then I started just opening up the jars and then getting a little bit of the juice out, but not much, just plain pinto beans, pouring a little bit of the juice out, then making my sauce, making my pork and bean sauce. Just putting the ingredients in a bowl, stirring it up, heating it up a little bit, or just mixing up the sauce from the recipe, putting it into my saucepan with the pinto beans, and then there you go, pork and beans. Same thing with baked beans, okay? I found my recipes for homemade pork and beans to can and homemade baked beans to can just off of Pinterest. I picked the recipes that I thought we were going to like because everybody does theirs different. So I just picked the recipe. So now all I have to do, instead of going through all the other procedures because half of the work's already done, I just take the ingredients that makes up the sauce, mix it up, pour it in my saucepan with the beans. There you go. Homemade pork and beans and homemade baked beans. Now let me show you the next way. And we're only going to have to do a couple of jars because my canner holds 7 jars, quart jars. I have 9 of the pinto beans and meat. So that means I can only do 7 in the first batch. So I'm going to make up maybe 5-ish more jars and then maybe enough for another canner full, and I'll show you how I do them the other way, the rebel way, okay? So hold on. Okay, y'all are going to have to excuse the jiggling over here, okay, because they're still processing. This is the second way. The first way I showed y'all was the pre-soak method. This is the no-soak method. Okay, so let me show you what you're going to do, okay? You are going to wash and rinse off a whole bunch of pinto beans, okay, to get the dirt and any kind of debris that might be in that bag, okay? Then you're going to start filling up your jar. But this is the key. Let me get y'all up here where you can see. This is the key. You don't want to fill your jar all the way up to the neck with just dried beans. You only want to fill your jar up, and every time it's different, y'all. Y'all, I'm sorry if it's a little loud. I'm sorry, but we got things to do. Every batch is always different with me. It don't matter if I do it the same way every sinking time. Sometimes it turns out exactly the same. Sometimes it doesn't. Okay? It's a judgmental guessing kind of game when filling your jar. If you've got dried beans, dried to the bone, okay? I start out with half. Then I'll go just a little bit above that half, but not 3/4, okay? And not all the way to the rim, okay? Start out with half. Everybody's pressure canner is different. Some people will water bath, okay? Everybody's stove is different. This is the reason why batches are not always going to turn out exactly to the science, down to the T in that canning book. I don't care if it's the Ball Blue book. I don't care if it's Nancy Drew down the road. Nancy Drew, she does something else. I read them when I was little. Okay, anyway, it don't matter who puts out the book, who puts out the recipe. All the time, it's not going to turn out exactly the same, okay? And this is the reason why people have so many questions, like, well, mine didn't do... Okay, stoves are different. Pressure canners are different. Beans are different. Y'all, it's the same way with rice. I do not care. You can get pinto beans from different places, but they're still pinto beans, and they're going to cook up different every time. I've done this with rice before. We bought a brand of rice one time that it did not matter how I cooked that rice. If I soaked it for 24 hours, then boiled the dog soup out of it, and then, y'all, that rice was still crunchy. We came across a brand of navy beans that way, and that's what just did me in for navy beans. I started switching to all pinto beans. I could not get those navy beans soft for nothing. And I tried them different ways. I soaked, I boiled, I cooked. I went ahead and prepared my baked beans at that time. And then I pressure canned it. We opened up a jar and those beans were still crunchy. And I'm like, what in the world? What's a girl got to do to get a soft bean around here, a soft rice? Just know it's not going to be perfect every single time back to back in a row. Okay? So, but when you're dealing with dried beans and you want to do the no soak method, start at a half. Then if you get that batch and you're like, I think I could go just a little more with the next batch. Go just a little more, but start out at a half. I have just about got mine down to half, but just a little above that, but not 3/4, and definitely not up to the neck, because you have got to allow for, okay, swelling, okay? So you're just going to fill your jars, and you can watch me do a couple, and then I'll do the rest off of camera, okay? Something else I want to point out too. Every jar is different. I got like a little more of an oblong jar here. And then look at this one. This one's kind of like square bottom. Every jar is different. Keep that in mind when you're filling your jars. So let's get a couple filled. Give me my funnel. Let's get a couple filled. A lot of people are like, well, just do 1 cup. Well, I did 1 cup, and I wound up having more water than I did bean. Look at that. That's not enough. Okay, so I'm just going to eyeball this, y'all, because this is just what you're going to have to do sometimes. And I ain't got my glasses on either. I don't even know what I did with my glasses this morning. Nope, I didn't put them up there. See, it's a judgment call, y'all. Start out with half first. If you just want to do that 1 cup and test and see what all the hype is about, just do that 1 cup. But I tried 1 cup and that wasn't enough, y'all. Some people say 2/3. I'm going to dump just a little bit out. You just got to, okay? See, this jar is also different than the rest of them. Okay, I'm going to do that right there. This is a curd jar. I have a ball And I have a Golden Harvest from Walmart. Y'all, I'm not picky about my jars. I don't know where this old square one come from. Oh, y'all, this is old square balls. No pun intended, but this is square ball. It is a square ball, see? Ball. Okay, y'all, come on, laugh. All right, I'm going to do a couple of jars that I'm going to show you what we're going to do next, okay? Now, we are going to pour water in here up to the rim, right there. Y'all see my finger while I'm pouring? We're going to pour up to right there, that rim. You're going to leave a 1-inch head space. If you want to put salt or some kind of seasonings in there, you can do it before you add your water. But since I don't know exactly how I'm going to be using these, I'm not going to do that, because I may want to season them a different way for something that don't call for salt. Now, let me show you this. If you start seeing floating beans, that means those beans are bad. See those floating? Take them out. Just remove the floating ones. Those are bad beans, and they're not going to be good. And if there's any other kind of debris that comes up to the top, get it out. There was one that broke open. Okay? Now, you are going to wipe your jar. Then you are going to put your lid and ring on. Lid. Lord. Did I say Lord? Lid and ring. Lord help me. Okay. He's with me today, y'all. That's all you do. And you are going to process these in a pressure canner for 90 minutes. Okay? Y'all, that's all. Oh, I can see one more. I got to get out of there. I'll go back and get that one out. I'm going to finish filling these up. Then we're going to process all these. And then I'll show you what they look like when they come out of the canner. Which, a lot of them are going to be this evening, because this girl's getting ready for a nap. A snacky and a nappy. I'm tired, boss. Okay? So let me finish filling these up. Then we're going to get these processed sometime today. And then I'll let you see what they look like when they come out of the canner, because that one's still going, okay? I'll catch y'all in just a bit. It's not later yet, but one quick thing. I did do it. I just forgot to tell y'all to do it. When you put your beans in here, don't forget to debubble, okay? Debubble, because if there's any more in the bottom here that may be bad, they'll float to the top. So make sure you debubble. And let's see if there's any more that's going to be bad. Get that air out. Now, see, I got some that was trapped in the bottom that needs to come out. I just forgot to tell y'all that. I'll see y'all in a little while. I swear, I'll leave y'all alone in just a minute. It's not later yet, but I just thought of something else. I looked back through my book just to make sure about the processing time. In my book, there's 2 processing times. If you have already pre-soaked and halfway boiled your beans or cooked your beans, for quarts, you can cut down that processing time to like 75 minutes. Okay? According to my book. Y'all please read your owner's manual. I cannot tell y'all how important this is. When you get into pressure canning, read this manual before you start anything. Pressure canners are different. Mine has a wet method in here like the hot pack, where we pre-soaked and we partially, not all the way cooked them and not boiled them, but softened them. Those are the ones I'm going to do for 75 minutes, okay? The ones that are dried to the bone, we didn't pre-soak, the no-soak method, 90 minutes. It kind of makes sense because you've got one bean that's already swelled up, already partially somewhat in the makings of being cooked or pre-cooked, whatever, the hot pack method. And then you've got a bean that's just hard as a rock. Okay, so you can fluctuate your times. So, but please, I wanted to make sure, I wanted to go back into my book, and I'm like, these have already been soaked, already been like done like on low, partially boiling, but not cooking, if that makes any sense, y'all. And I'm like, 90 minutes may overdo them. So I'm going to back down to 75 on these, 90 on the ones that are hard as a rock, and the no soak method. But you refer to your book, and I just did, and it told me that. So that's how I can tell you, is because it says it here, okay? Okay, let's get busy doing the rest. Okay, y'all, it is later this time. Oh, I've had a snacky, I've had a nappy, where I could go with the second half of my day. I got the first load of the pinto beans with the ham just out of the canner, and I'll show you what they look like. Here they are out of the canner. This is the ones that was like pre-soaked, the pre-soak method, and I already partially like kind of boiled them a little bit, and they've got the ham in them. So this is the ones I did for 75 minutes, and you see I'm in the safe zone, and they did swell up just a little bit more, and how they come up like that. So y'all just give yourself some space and give yourself some room. So all of them turned out good. I just got them out of the canner, and I'm in the safe zone right there. Okay, so these are perfect. Now I'm gonna get a batch going that is just the pinto beans no soak method. Okay, they're gonna get done for 90 minutes. Okay, and I'll let you see what those look like when they come out. All right, here is a small batch that has come out of the canner. That was the no soak method, and here's those. I got that just right. I will wipe these jars off, y'all, because I just got them out of the canner. And in this particular one, I forgot to add the splash of vinegar to where it won't get that cloudy mineral film on your jars when they come out. And I also did a small batch of kidney beans, y'all. So see, there you go. Y'all, it does pay to take some time and make up batches like this, because every one of these are fixing to go in my pantry, and meal planning is going to be on a whim. So there you go. Just remember, y'all, doing pinto beans, whether they're soaked, any dried bean, whether they're soaked or no soak method, it is a judgment call on how many minutes, according to the bean, according to your pressure cooker, your stove, everything. Just anticipate anywhere between 75 to 90 minutes for either a pre-soak method or a no-soak method. And there we go. Meal planning's going to be easy this week, because I've already got some meals ready to go in the pantry. And all it took was just taking the time to just do this one day. And now, how many is this? 2, 4, 6. 6. And I've already got some more over there that had the ham in it. I think I had 9 quarts with the pinto beans and the ham. I mean, that's 9 future meals, y'all, that will be so quick and so easy. Throw together on a whim with some cornbread. And it just took me a day to do this, y'all. But if you find yourself getting hung up and you got to find a stopping point somewhere, y'all, it's okay to put your jars into the refrigerator and just save them for the next day. They will not ruin, and they will be fine. So I'm going to get all these jars wiped off, labeled, and put in the pantry. That's how you can do some different ways for pinto beans or dried beans. See you in the next video.